Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our first broadcast. I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I really have no idea about the technology, so you're going to have to bear with me. I wanted to make our first broadcast a lot of things, and it's probably going to take me a little bit of time, but I want to introduce myself, tell you who I am, where I come from, why we're doing this, and then I want to go in. Now, I wanted to start this a couple of weeks ago, but because I don't know that much about the technology, it took me a while to figure it out. So tonight, it might be kind of a long show, but that's kind of why I'm here on YouTube. I don't want any restraints. So my name is Brian, and I am a pastor, and I do a show on Facebook, but that show is kind of limiting in that I limit it to 25 minutes a week, and some of the subjects that I talk about, you don't really get to go in depth, and that kind of bothers me. I want to be able to, not all the time, but on some subjects I want to go into depth, and I just don't have the time to do that. There's so much going on. The Facebook account I'm going to do just as I felt like was needed to be done, and that was to spread God's word. This show is strictly about politics, strictly about a Christian man's perspective of what politics in the United States should be as opposed to what it is. Now, the program I've been doing on Facebook, we're coming up on our 4th anniversary. And we do actually, our programs are produced and supported by Prayer Box Ministry. We do 4 programs, 2 video, 2 audio, plus a blog, plus a Bible study class that we do live. And now we're going to do this, but I want to try to keep the 2 apart. I don't really know how to build an audience. I really don't know anything about the technology. I don't know a lot. All I want to do, and the only reason I'm doing this program is because I just feel like I need to talk about in depth the things that I see, the things that I understand, and share that with people. I do that with God's word, and I want to do that with politics. Those are the 2 biggest loves in my life, and I want to be able to do that. So the reason that we are doing it on YouTube is nobody on Facebook is going to find this program. I don't want the 2 to mix. I want this to be strictly about me and politics. I want to be able to talk about what I want to talk about and not worry about how that is felt or received by anybody else. I want to take in the information, I want to process it, and I want to give it back out. Now, the original week I wanted to do this was 2 weeks ago. And I had done all the work, I'd done all the research, I bought the equipment, and I sat down to do the program, and I was like, okay, first I need to tell you. When I went to the store, the guy said, oh yeah, this camera will do, just plug it in and it'll work. Well, it doesn't work. It does not work that way. And then once I got onto the website, there was a lot of hoops I needed to jump through. I had no idea, and I still don't know how it all works. But hopefully, over time, we'll figure it out. and we'll be able to build an audience, and we'll be able to share with people. I will tell you, one of the benefits of doing a live program on YouTube as opposed to Facebook is this. YouTube has a URL address on your account. So it stays on your account. You can move it. You can link it. There's a lot you can do with it. You can't do that on Facebook. It's there and then it's gone. So that's one of the things that I really like about YouTube. Okay, so now it just so happened that the week I wanted to do this was a huge week in politics. I mean, I am a politics junkie, and there's been a lot of big news this year for sure. But there was a lot of news that was concentrated in 1 week, and it just so happened to be the week I wanted to get started, which was last week. So what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to talk about that and go into this week, because this week has been equally big. Now, for a while, there had been talk about Trump's chief of staff, Reince Priebus, out. Now, the discussion had been going on in the press that there was two factions fighting. Reince Priebus and Bannon. And the press made it look like Bannon was on his way out. But Priebus kind of showed his hand. Now, you know, Trump hired a guy that everybody made fun of called Scaramucci, and his nickname was the Mooch. And that guy was just, he was laughable. But I think he did the job, the exact job that Trump wanted him to. He proved that Priebus was a leaker. Now, for those of you that don't know, Reince Priebus was the head of the Republican Party when Trump was running for president. Now, let me give you a little bit of insight as I see it. Trump is an outsider. He is the person none of the establishment wanted. So when he won the presidency, he needed to make some appointments that would not alienate everybody. And Reince Priebus was that guy. If you could get the ultimate establishment Republican on your staff, that would hold a lot of people off. Now, you have to ask yourself, why? Why would Trump care? Well, this is my opinion. I believe that when Trump came in, it was made explicitly plain to him that the establishment did not want him, they did not like him, and they had the power to kill him. And as soon as he figured that out, he decided he needed to play ball. So he hired Reince Priebus, and he hired a couple other swamp rats. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? I meant establishment Republicans to keep them at bay for the time being. Now, I think it's important right now at this point to tell you how I think the politics of the nation pan out right now. I'm getting ready to do a show called RIP. And the essence of that program is going to be that, in my opinion, the Republican and Democratic Party as we know it is dead. They're just dead. I think, and frankly, I think they've been dead a while. I don't think Trump was the cause of it. I think Trump just pointed it out. I think they've been dead since McCain. And then Mitt Romney. And then when none of the establishments even won the election, that's when it died. So now, here we are with no Republican, no Democrat party. So what do we have? We have the establishment party and we have the Tea Party. So as soon as Trump realizes the lay of the ground or the lay of the land, he needs to get a couple of establishment Republicans in there at key positions. So he hires Reince Priebus as the chief of staff. That's one of the big jobs. But Trump is also not stupid enough to realize, to understand that a lot of the leaks that are coming out of the White House are coming out through Reince Priebus and his people. So he hires Scaramucci to come in there, and he's made the bad guy, but Trump gets rid of Priebus. Now, I think there's more going on here. Trump gets rid of Scaramucci. He gets rid of Reince Priebus. He gets rid of Comey. And he starts harassing Sessions. In my opinion, all four of those people are swamp rats. Why does Trump feel emboldened enough to do that? Here's my opinion. When he came into office, the establishment let Trump know that they were in charge and he's not. In the last 6 months, Trump has done and gotten a lot done. And that's awesome. He's made some key appointments, and the Congress is holding him up, which, by the way, I think that's going to change. I don't know exactly how Trump's going to do that, but he has managed to hold off the establishment hierarchy, and he's managed to stay alive, and he's managed to fire a lot of the establishment. And I believe time will tell. When he was messing with Jeff Sessions, I believe that was a shot across the bow of the establishment. Because what Trump was saying was this: I'm secure in my job. I'm not afraid of you trying to kill me anymore. I'm here. I'm loud. I'm proud. Deal with it. And that's the challenge. So the press is making a deal about the people that Trump has fired. But look at who he's fired. They're all establishment. Okay? And the one he is harassing is also establishment. But you know what? Jeff Sessions stepped up and kept going. Now, he can't really get rid of, I mean, he can, but it would be to his detriment to get rid of Jeff Sessions. Why? Jeff Sessions has done a lot of good for Trump. Jeff Sessions is the reason that the illegal immigration across the southern border is down 80%. Jeff Sessions is the reason that he is now going after aggressively sanctuary cities. So Trump has a lot to lose. Now, on Trump's side, Trump has a good point. He's thinking, I hired an attorney general to do my bidding and do my fighting. You recused yourself from the Russia investigation. And you recused yourself from the Clinton investigation. Those are the two big things I needed from you. If you are not going to do that, what do I need you for? So they both have a good argument. I believe Trump understands that Jeff Sessions is better for him if he's aggressive. And that was the whole point of the week of tweets from Trump. He was telling Sessions, you need to be more aggressive. Now, in this week, when we had all of this going on, it was kind of a cat and mouse game between Trump and the press. Trump started the week on Monday by harassing Jeff Sessions. Remember? Then, also on Monday, Scaramucci started or was fired after outing Reince Priebus. So now Trump has had the news cycle for 2 days. Then EMRAN was arrested in Dallas airport trying to flee the country. He was an employee of Wasserman Schultz, who used to head the Democratic Party. Now, why was this huge news? He was the IT guy. He was the guy that had access to all of the Democrats and Republicans' emails. Now, there are a couple of sites here on YouTube that you can go to. One of them was George Webb. One of them is Crowdsourcing the Truth. And they have done an obscene amount of research on this EMRAN and have been doing it since February. But not all, this guy and his family is just dirty as the day is long. But he had access to all the emails. He was selling that information to foreign leaders, and we believe it was leaders in countries like ISIS and Pakistan. So these are bad guys. And they were on salary. Him and 4 of his family members and a friend were on salary for as much as a U.S. senator makes. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz was overpaying these guys for some reason. The story is yet to be told on that, but when we find out, it will not surprise me. Now, why is this significant about EMRAN? If they were the IT guys for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was head of the Democratic Party, who had influence with Clinton, which leads to the Clinton Foundation. Think about that. This EMRAN had access, I'm pretty sure, to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, all the Republican and all the Democratic leaders in Washington, to Bill and Hillary Clinton, to the Democratic National Committee, and to the Clinton Foundation. All of their emails. I mean, think about that. And if this guy and his family were selling those, now the reason he was picked up was for bank fraud, totally unrelated to any of this. The bank fraud was he was buying, well, pretending like he was buying houses and getting loans from the house bank and then shipping that money overseas. EMRAN belongs to the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, if you don't know what that is a group here in the United States that supports terrorism. They say they don't, but they do. And why is that important? The Muslim Brotherhood was endorsed and liked by Barack Hussein Obama. because they were through EMRAN 01, the Muslim Brotherhood had access to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, to the Senate, to the House, and up the chain to Obama, all the way to the leader of the White House. This EMRAN 01 and his family and that one friend theoretically had access to the most sensitive information in the entire country and the entire government, and was selling it. Now, if you go to those two websites I told you, you will see there is a lot more that we think they've done. None of it's been proved. But this is going to be a long case. It's going to be a complicated case. And I don't believe this guy's ever going to see the light of day again. I know right now he's got a bracelet on and he's out of jail, but the more digging they do, I believe this guy is never going to see the light of day again. So that was last week. So now we come up on this week, and Trump comes out on Tuesday with a teaser for his tax package. He has nothing firm. He has nothing in writing, as far as we know. But he's talking about the tax package that he wants to put together. And I got to tell you, this really kind of bothers me, because it feels like the repeal and replace of Obamacare. Nothing is planned, nothing is done. We're just going to go with it. Now he comes out, now again, he controls the story, he controls the press cycle about the tax package on Tuesday. A $2 trillion tax cut, and he wants it done this year. Now, that's an aggressive plan. Now the press is saying, and I saw something today, that the Mitch McConnell saying he has unrealistic expectations of how the House and Senate works. I was alive during the Reagan Revolution. Ronald Reagan and an opposing Democrat House leader, Tip O'Neill, managed to work together to get through the Reagan economic voodoo politics economic program that he got through. But he got it through. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think it's possible. And I think if Trump pushes it and sells it and uses the political capital that he has with the American people, it'll get done. But I do think that if he sits in the White House and does not go out and sell it like he did with Obamacare, I think this is doomed to fail also. These people that are voting on this have got to know that the heat is on and that Trump is in charge and that the American people are behind Trump. If they don't believe that, they are not going to vote for this. I think it shows potential, and I hope it gets done, because all of the economic news that we have been hearing and seeing so far has all been great, but it's all been predicated on the fact that Trump cuts taxes. If that comes up for a vote and it doesn't pass, I don't even, 2 major legislative losses in one session and no major one passed, he's done. So there can be no slip-ups on this. And since McCain is in the mix, we know right now that McCain is on the other side. And chances are the same 2 liberal Republicans, and I don't even want to call them Republicans, all 3 of those are establishment. The one from Maine and the one from Alaska, both females, and McCain. So that takes us down to an even 50-50. Well, no, 49-50, so we lose. So Trump is going to have to pull this out somehow. He's got to get this passed. He's got to get this passed in this session, in addition to the other things that he's doing. Can he do it? Yes. Is it going to be easy? No. But Trump has got to be fully invested. He's got to go on the road. He's got to sell this. He's got to sell this 24/7 until Mitch McConnell brings this thing to a vote. Now, however long that takes, it doesn't matter. If Trump wants a victory, he's going to have to work 24/7 for it. Then on Wednesday, Trump came out with what I think is an awesome plan. He's updating our legal immigration, not the illegal, but the legal immigration. He is updating the rules and recommendations for our legal immigration policy. And he came out with Wednesday. And this week he did a great job of controlling the narrative and being in charge. The press did not get on the back foot. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to cover both weeks. Because both weeks, Trump has figured out that he needs to control the narrative and how to do that, even though last week the press kept him on his back foot for a couple of days. But still, Trump controlled it for 2 or 3 days, and this week he's controlled it most of the week. So he's getting better at controlling it. Now, the press is all upset because they are saying that by Trump's updating of this legal immigration law, that they are suppressing votes and inhibiting legal immigration. Now listen to what he wants. He thinks that people that come into this country should speak English. Wow. What a terrible thing that they should have to speak English. He says that whoever comes into this country should be able to take care of themselves financially. Sounds perfectly logical to me. A means test. The problem, and the reason he put this in here, is because what is happening here is exactly what has been happening in England. And if you have been following, what they do is all of these immigrants go to England, and the first thing they do is get on welfare. They get free housing, they get welfare money, they get free education, they get free health care. They're on the dole right from the beginning. And everyone that comes in that does that is a drain on the treasury. We can't do that. That's silliness. Trump is saying, let's make sure that they speak English, that they can take care of themselves, and have a skill that we as a country need. If you come into this country and you have no skill at all, you can't find a job because you have no skill, why do we want you? If you're a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, we need your skill. And that's one of the problems with the illegal aliens coming across the southern border. They have no skill except that they can work in the field and will work for very cheap. That's not a skill. If we keep them out, the Americans who have no skills will be able to go take those jobs. And the last thing that he asked for in this bill is to limit the number of family members you can bring with you. Here's the game that was being played under the old system. The system said you could bring family members with you. Okay, so let's say that I get accepted into the United States. I can bring my wife, my 17 kids, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, my niece, nephew, uncle, aunt, 15 cousins. They can all come in because they can say that they have a family member here in the United States. And Trump is saying, no, wait a minute. We allow one person in, and because of that one person, we now have 32 of your family here. That's not right. They're bypassing what this country needs so that you can get your family here. Well, that's not right. Trump just wants to limit it to your immediate family, your mom, your dad, your kids, and your spouse. Sounds perfectly reasonable to me. Let's go back and look at what Trump wants when he is updating this policy for our legal, and that's the key part, the legal immigration. He wants them to speak English. He wants them to be able to take care of themselves financially. He wants them to have a skill that we as the United States need and want. And he wants to limit the number of family members that come into the country. Is there anything in there that you see that is not good? Not to me. That sounds all perfectly logical to me. Yet the press is making a huge, huge deal about it. Why? Because the illegals that are, even the legals that come into this country tend to vote Democratic. So what the Democrats are saying is, let's bring in all the people that we can, because they'll all vote Democrat. Trump is saying, let's not worry about Democrat, Republican. Let's worry about what's right for the country and let the cards fall where they may. So Trump has written this law, and I think this is an awesome law. However, and here's the problem, we are going to run into the same problem with this one that we ran into with Obamacare and that we're going to run into with the tax cuts. We got those same three jerks. So what do? My opinion is this: Trump needs to do a couple of things. First, he needs to find one or two Democrats that he can work with. Make a deal, compromise, give them whatever it is they want to pull this through this year. Then, when the election season comes in a year and a half, he needs to go and spend 3 months. And he needs to pick out the key people that are vulnerable, that are Democrats and Republicans. He needs to go after the lady in Alaska, the lady in Maine, and McCain in Arizona. And there's another representative in Arizona, his name is Flake. He needs to go after those guys. And if he can knock those off and bring in Tea Party, we will run the table. But McCain and these other two are being obstructionist. We've got to get rid of them, and we need to replace them with Tea Party members. Remember what I said earlier. And this is hard to get your head around because we're Americans and because we understand how the system works. We think that we have a two-party system, Republicans and Democrats. That's not true anymore. That started to die when W won. And it has gone downward since. And if you doubt that, just look at the votes. The Democrats all voted together, not one strayed. But they had just one or two or three establishment Republicans to get it through. And I promise you, if those three hadn't been there, there'd have been another three. And here's a good example. Remember when Trump was tweeting all those things about Jeff Sessions? Did you notice how many Democrats came out and sang the praises of Jeff Sessions? Did you notice that? Did you also notice that Ted Cruz was not in that cadre of people? But all the liberal Democrats, all the establishment was standing up for him. That was extremely important to me, because now I know, and you should know, that Jeff Sessions is a swamp rat. It's no mistake that he hired Rosenstein as his assistant. Rosenstein is also a swamp rat, and he's the one that hired McCain to go after Trump. This is no mistake. This is no accident. These two are swamp rats. In the long run, Trump is going to have to clean house in the EPA and in the Justice Department, including the FBI, the CIA, and Justice. And he's going to have to take the heads out. He's going to have to clean civil service out, and he's going to have to start over. But this is how the last 2 weeks have looked. And the primary thing that I wanted you to see is that Trump understands controlling the narrative. And he has controlled it most of the time in the last 2 weeks. Now, it may have been kind of absurd things with this the mooch, or with revealing a new bill that is probably not going to be passed. But he is controlling the narrative, and that's important for him to survive. I'm also enlightened by the fact that he feels secure enough to fire a shot across the bow of Jeff Sessions and to fire 4 swamp rats. This is all good stuff. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this week in politics. Hopefully every week we will have something to say. And like I said at the beginning, there's no time constraint. If I have a lot to say, we'll take a lot of time. If I have nothing to say, we'll skip a week. If I have a little to say, we'll say a little bit. But I just wanted to be free to be able to do that and make the program something that is worth watching, and maybe give a little insight to what's happening, and maybe to call your attention to some things that maybe the average Joe doesn't catch, except when they watch a program like this. Now, if you like the program, I would hope that you would share it. And like I said, I know nothing about technology, so I'm still working on it. If you could help me to bring the word to more people, that would be great. And as we close, I just want to say that, as I said in the beginning, this program and all the other ones that we do are all sponsored and brought to you by the Prayer Box Ministry. And you can find our website at www.prayerboxministry.org. That's org.org. Go over there and check us out. It's an interactive website that is not only bringing you God's word, but is extremely entertaining. Go over there and check us out. That's prayerboxministry.org. Well, you guys have a great week. I'll see you next week. And hopefully you enjoyed the program.